So a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Edwin Lampert. I'm Executive Editor at Riviera Maritime Media, and it's my privilege to welcome you to today's event, Navigating the Future with AI, Digital Innovation for Real Gains and Smarter Fleets, brought to you by Orca AI. We gather this evening against the stunning backdrop of the Athens Riviera to move beyond theoretical discussions and pilot projects. Tonight's focus is on how AI and automation are delivering real, measurable gains for ship owners and operators. We'll also assess the practical challenges of scaling these technologies fleet-wide while maintaining the rigorous safety standards our industry demands. Ladies and gents, this isn't about distant futures. It's about the tangible results being realized today. Safer navigation, sharper decision-making, quantifiable fleet improvements, and enhanced operational improvements. Over the next hour and a half or so, we'll hear from industry leaders who are implementing these technologies in real-world operations. We'll also have a panel discussion addressing the critical questions facing maritime decision makers and concluding with networking as the sun sets over this truly magnificent setting. Let me walk you through the program for this evening. First of all, Vasilios Dimoulis, Technology and Innovation Director at Bureau Veritas East Europe, will explore rethinking safety and compliance in the age of smart ships, examining how we can embrace AI and automation while maintaining those rigorous safety standards that our industry demands, and the evolving role of classification in supporting responsible innovation. Next, we'll hear from Captain Nestor, HSSQE Department Manager and DPA at Sea Traders SA, and he will share concrete results in how Sea Traders leverages AI to improve fleet safety. He'll be providing real-world data on how this leading Greek bulk carrier operator uses AI and automation to enhance fleet safety, operational efficiency, and fuel performance. Following that, we'll have Jarden Gross. He is, of course, CEO and co-founder of Orca AI, and he's here to challenge our assumptions in the future of autonomous shipping is already here. He'll be exploring whether we can truly rely on AI to automate critical voyage components, and he will address the myths around crew replacement and revealing what's genuinely at stake. After that, we will transition to our panel discussion, Shipping in the Age of AI, featuring our speakers, and we have some bonus industry leaders joining for that component. We will have Panagiotis Strossos, Managing Director at Capital Ship Management, and we will have Panos, Technical Director at Sea Traders as well. That's Panos Kountis. This panel will explore how digital transformation is reshaping maritime operations with a particular focus on return on investment, operational resilience, and the critical balance of human-machine collaboration. We'll also explore governance, classification, and regulatory frameworks, ensuring safe and trusted progress. Following what I know will be an involving and insightful discussion, we'll return to our networking reception with refreshments until 8, taking full advantage of this spectacular venue and the opportunity to continue our conversations in a more informal setting. So without further delay, let's explore the digital innovation for real gains and smarter fleets. It's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Dimoulis, Technology and Innovation Director at Bureau Veritas East Europe. Over to you, good sir.
Good afternoon from me as well. A big thank you to Orca AI for this invitation. It's indeed my pleasure to be with you. I will not tire you too much. I will just briefly intend to mention what we are doing at Bureau Veritas to embrace digitalization and AI and our vision to what we call smart shipping. Why is what we call smart shipping accelerating? First and foremost, to the left, being a classification society, safety is very important for us. So it's one of the reasons is that digital technologies are actually helping to move from what is reactive to proactive safety management, and we fully support that. Then we have environmental regulations, all the regulations that are already there or coming up very much depend on monitoring performance, correctly monitoring performance, and having big data in our availability. So digitalization and also AI is something that is needed. And finally, the fact that technology is evolving, that capabilities that did not exist in the past now exist, of course, dictate that we move forward. What are the challenges in moving further forward, actually? I'm starting from the top right here, which is management of change. Shipping is a traditional industry. It's been there for centuries, and the way we do our work has been traditional, let's say. So changing is not always easy. And you ask yourself, why change something that is working? The answer is that the business environment has changed, and we have to adapt to that. Now, then we have a series of technically related challenges, which is cybersecurity, of course, transparency, data quality, and reliability, the way that technologies integrate and are able to have interoperability between them. These are items that can be solved with technology. Now, within Bureau Veritas, we started early to embrace technology and digitalization, and we have identified 4 levels of progress where we can offer our input. Now, starting with what we call computer-based ships, we cover systems on board, the cyber safety of computer-based systems on board that capture data. Moving on to what we call connected ships, we cover the communications, the connectivity and performance, and of course, the big issue of cybersecurity. Then we have what we call augmented ships, where we review also the models that help operators take decisions either onshore or on board. And finally, the autonomous ships that are something you may say in the future, but for the moment, what we're doing, we're conducting design review, and we issue approval in principles for concepts and in the journey towards autonomous ships. So we have established more than 10 additional class notations. I won't go through them, of course, just to let you know that cover all these levels and various aspects of digitalization. Just briefly to mention the latest development that we issued in October, guidelines for machine learning systems. And we are about to issue, it's under preparation, guidelines on data quality, both subjects that I think are very relevant to the recent developments. So staying on machine learning, we have identified, let's say, 3 pillars for machine learning. One is health state awareness of machinery, systems, and hull as well. Then we have energy efficiency, of course, with all the subcategories that we all know very well, how we can use data and AI to optimize our voyages and emissions. And lastly, navigation support, situational awareness, and collision avoidance, which Orca AI may say a lot about this subject. So now looking inside on how we embrace as an organization the digitalization, we have invested very early, very early on remote surveys and mobility solutions. And when COVID came, we say that we were ready because there was simply no other way of doing business. And we're also have our own internal generative AI platform. We call it Jules, from Jules Verne, the forward-thinking writer, which helps us in our everyday work of design review, etc. Finally, we have, you would see a drone inspection where the drone using AI identifies corrosion patterns and classifies corrosion as well. It's a service we developed recently where we do use AI in identifying corrosion patterns, and also 3D representation of the ship, where you don't have a simple survey report with photographs, but an interactive system where you can store your findings and go back to them and review them afterwards. A service that goes beyond classification and can be used also for everyday work for shipping companies, managers, etc. That's all for me. Thank you for your patience and looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you very much indeed. Our next speaker will bring us from regulatory framework to operational reality. It is Captain Nestor. As I mentioned previously, he serves as HSSQE Department Manager and designated person ashore at Sea Traders, one of Greece's leading bulk carrier operators. Please join me in giving him the very warmest of welcomes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, a big thank you to Orca AI for this wonderful event in this wonderful place. It's a great honor for me to be here and speak among distinguished guests and fellow professionals. We're going to discuss how we use this tool in Sea Traders and Prominence Maritime. First of all, who we are, the Sea Traders and Prominence Maritime is part of the Mr. Prokopiou group of companies and Ms. Ioanna Prokopiou, who runs the Prominence Maritime. We have 16 vessels, both companies, but 5 vessels have already installed the Orca AI. And we have around 350, maybe more, seafarers who work for us. Sea Traders and Prominence Maritime embrace innovation and always we use AI not only for safety of navigation, but also in tools that will assist us to improve post-state control, vetting issues, and all these things. At the core of our company is always the dedication to safeguard the environment, the cargo, and the vessel, and of course, our seafarers. The journey with Orca started, the collaboration started on September 2024. The first vessel installed Orca AI was the Gallio in December 11th, and with a fast-track process and an excellent cooperation with Orca AI and office staff, we managed to have all vessels, 5 vessels with Orca AI installed by February 15, 2025. And we start running after following an extensive training, the system by April 1st. The first data evaluation and the first results came to us on May 2025. Here we have the partnership in numbers. We start running the system on March 2025, and we, as you can see, by September 2025, we have a close encounter events per vessel, which is reduced by 60%. 60% reduction in close quarter situation means less near misses. And less near misses, as you understand, means reduced risk for a serious marine incident. And of course, when we're talking about serious marine incidents, we're talking about mainly about collisions. And also, we see an increase in average minimum distance. I mean, the vessels now with this system, they use this system and they strictly follow. They have increased the implementation of companies' policies in terms of CPA, and that is something very encouraging. The success story goes with Gallio. You can see here we have, by the time we installed the system, up until April 2025, where we had the first data and the first quarter business review, we had a reduction of 83%. What does this mean? That means that this system helped and assisted our crew to take early decisions. And of course, it is a tool that help us and help our crews to better implement, to say, the company's procedures. Because they know now that they have a tool that, if it is properly used, will bring good results. And if they know that, they are more happy to use it. And of course, we have a 45% average minimum distance. What is the most important are the end users, are the crews. You know, we are very happy to read the feedback from our masters. Most of the people that they have used our system, this system, the Orca AI system, they are very happy to use it. they feel more and more confidence. The more they use it, the more confident they feel. And as you see, they recommend that we have to use this system in more vessels in the near future. And here is the partnership in action, what we do from our side. When we receive the reports, now they have new features in the system where this feedback is coming, almost live. I see, on daily basis where our vessels stand in terms of navigational safety. So what we did when we receive a monthly report from Orca AI, we use it, we extract the data from this report, and we send and dispatch and disseminate to these vessels a message where we demonstrate to them what are their results, what are their strong areas, and where are the weak areas, in order for them to be improved. And we mainly focus on utilization rate. We are trying to convince them to use it and use it more frequently and more efficiently. And also, by using this message, we create a competitive environment between the master, because as you know, all the captains has a big ego. So when they read this message and they say, oh, the other guy did better, so this is a trigger point, that we challenge them to use it better the next time, the next month, they wish to be better than the others. So that's life, this is how it goes. Here we have an interesting event to see in action, in real life, a close quarter encounter. So what we did when we received this close encounter by our motor vessel Nondas, we sent a message to the master, and we asked him to be involved, investigate from his side as well, to see what they did good and what they did bad, where our company's procedures were not followed, what they should do better. So what are the next steps? The next steps is that we're waiting now to have our second quarterly business review with Orca AI team, where we will discuss in detail what are the improvements we have from the first quarter. We work closely with Orca AI guys to deepening the analytics with performance benchmarking among our fleets. We close monitoring of the programs, of the progress we have with the system, and we are trying to optimize the voyage planning. We are always trying to find ways to improve the system in order to enhance safety. For us, enhancing, navigational safety means less incidents, and less incidents means a more efficient operations. And we expect in the long term to see, a significant return of our investment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. To complete our presentation segment, we hear from the technology innovator who's been working with operators globally to implement AI solutions at scale. Jarden Gross is CEO and co-founder of Orca AI, and he will address that fundamental question many in the room are asking. In fact, a number of fundamental questions that many in the room are asking, including, can we truly rely on AI to automate critical components of a vessel's voyage? Will AI eventually replace our crews? You can be sure he'll cut through the hype and the fear to show us what autonomous shipping really means today, demonstrate how AI serves as an indispensable co-pilot, enhancing crew capabilities rather than replacing them, and help us understand what's genuinely at stake as this technology evolves. But don't take my word for it. Jarden, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Wow, amazing. Amazing to have all of you in the room. Thank you for joining. We started operating in Greece in 2021, and Greek can be a very tough market, and I think for us, and this is going back to now to the presentation that Captain Nestoras just did, For us, right from the beginning, was not about coming and just delivering new type of technology, new type of product. It's about working together to create adoption and to actually improve the results, either the results of the safety, either the results of better efficiency on board. So I want to share with you a little bit what we're going to talk about today. So I would say that AI is already here. Everyone in the room probably are using ChatGPT. You see the impact already on your daily life. I think what we see now with AI is that it's starting to become more, entering more to the commercial world and to actually to some more conservative industries. Ships are already becoming more connected to the cloud, and because of that, AI is also starting to be adopted by the shipping industry, and that's amazing to see. What I'm showing here in this video is actually a demonstration to show how AI and advanced technology, advanced systems can actually create impact, not in 10 years, not in 5 years, but actually today. This event happened this year on March, unfortunate event in the North Sea between Stena Immaculate and another vessel. And you can see there was a foggy situation in this type of event. Low visibility, how to navigate, how to maneuver. And in this type of event, there was another vessel anchoring nearby. One of our customers, Ionic Shipping, a very good customer of us, and there we had the Orca platform on board. And by chance, they were anchoring nearby, they were looking towards the event, and this is exactly what they saw. They saw in the left side, with their bare eyes, nothing. In the right side, they saw the full event. They saw the two ships that are getting close to one another in a very dangerous way, and eventually got into a big incident. So again, this is a demonstration and an opportunity to show how AI can actually create impact today. So why it's important and why it's important now? Safety challenges are just increasing over time. You see that you have more cognitive load, fatigue. You have so much workload today when you're operating a ship. If you're going to go and talk with crew members, they're going to say they're all the time busy. There are so many tasks that they need to do. So fatigue is increasing, and on the other side, the waterways are not just getting easier, they're actually getting worse. You have more congestion, you have low visibility situations, it's just more complex to navigate. And eventually, I just spoke with one of our customers upstairs, and he said it's a nightmare now that you have so much crew shortage, not just crew shortage, but shortage in experience. And he was talking about, crew members 20 years ago, compared to what they have now, and he says that cadets 20 years ago did things that today much more experienced people are doing. So we see that, I would say, there is more workload, there is more challenges, and there is shortage. So this creates a situation where the crew needs help and the tools in order to empower them, in order to actually make them do their job in a better way. So how it's coming into effect, how it's actually improving safety, and what we can actually show today. So I want to share with you something new, something that we did, first time in shipping, with a combination and with a partnership of one of the biggest P&I clubs, North Standard. We did a study, and this is a very interesting study because first time you can do that. Ships are connected to the cloud. You can actually collect high-frequency data, first time. And based on the high-frequency data, you can start getting objective data on the impact on many KPIs, and here specifically on safety. And what we try to measure is, in these studies, how Orca today, or how an AI-powered system can impact safety in scale. So what we did in the research is trying to understand over time, very similar to what Captain Nestor showed, is how much over time, once the crew is using a platform based on AI, how it's impacting the safety. And we're measuring that by high severity, close encounter events. Okay, so we wanted to take those events, the near misses, the events that can actually lead to a real incident, to a real collision like we saw in the beginning of the video. So how we define that? We define it first of all by CPA, TCPA, call regs, compliance. Okay, so if it's a bow crossing, overtaking, or head-on situation, traffic density, and also the target vessel type. So we basically said, okay, let's filter out all event that is a part of the day-to-day operation. So immediately we filter out, tugboats that are getting closer and pilot boats. But then we said, okay, let's filter out also a close encounter of, let's say, 5 cables in very congested waterways like the Straits of Malacca. This is a part of the day-to-day operation. But if you have the same type of event, 5 cables in the middle of the ocean, it's a bow crossing with another tanker, all of a sudden it looks a little bit different. So this is a high severity event. So we filter all the events that are not high severity. We only kept the high severity events. And we actually measure that on scale. And when I say scale, I mean more than 100 container ships and over a year of each vessel, which means in general, it's 116 years. Which actually equivalent to 8 million nautical miles. And why it's important? Because when you're measuring that in scale and so much data, 8 million nautical miles of data, it's actually filter out all the anomalies. It filter out the type of route. It filter out weather situations because everything is starting to become normalized. So you can look actually on the specific API, the crew behavior, how they're using technology, and over time, how it's impacting the high severity close encounter events. And these are the results. So we measured between the first quarter is the adoption quarter, to the last quarter of the year, okay, 4 quarters afterwards. And the 4 quarters afterwards, this is where the crew already knows how to use Orca, they adopt it, it's a part of the day-to-day operations, and you can see the impact. So in the first quarter, what we measured was 3.3 on average, 3.3 high severity events, almost like a near miss, on a monthly basis. Fast forward, 4 quarters later, you see a 58% drop. Across the board, 58% drop to 1.4 events on average, high severity events per month. And this is amazing. This is amazing to see because this is an objective being actually qualified by an insurance company, that this is their job, this is what they do. They are qualifying events, they are qualifying safety. They looked at the data, they qualified it with us, and this is the objective data that we saw. So we can see that happening on containers. Now the next studies we're going to do it on tankers, on bulk carriers. So and that's pretty amazing to see that how AI is already impacting and drives impact on board vessels. And again, this is only because the crew was there to adopt it and actually to use the technology. Without them, nothing would have mattered. So we're talking about today, but let's talk a little bit about the future, where the industry is going to. And I think that's an interesting subject because technology can start pacing in a very quick manner when the right stage is there, when ships are connected, when the industry is there. And we start seeing that already happening in certain projects. So I'm going to share with you a project we're doing in Japan. One of our customers, NYK, they're actually building the first car carriers that's going to be delivered next year. And those car carriers are pretty special because they're going to have full autonomous capabilities. And when I mean full autonomous capabilities, the crew will still be there, but the platform, the AI platform, can take full control over the situation, can navigate once it leaves the port, can navigate from point A to point B with full automation, with a crew supervising the operation. And this is not 10 years from now. This is actually going to be delivered next year, car carriers in Japan. So let's look a little bit how it's going to look like, how the platform is going to behave. So first of all, when the vessel, there is few levels of autonomy. The first level is a decision support system. When the vessel is leaving the dock, then of course it's on level 1, which is a decision support, helping the crew to identify risk, departing from the port, identifying dangerous targets, showing exactly where the dangerous and where all the risks are coming from. Once the vessel is going outside of the port, it's starting to increase the level of autonomy. It's starting to take control over the vessel. And it's also showing that to the crew in real time, how it's taking that. The crew can always reduce the level of autonomy to where they want. They can take manual control back. But once the vessel is exiting the port, it can actually maneuver. It's connected to other ships also. It's connected to the cloud. So it's getting data inputs about weather conditions, about everything that is happening. And based on that, it's optimizing the voyage. It's also doing something very interesting. It's also sending the data in real time back to shore, to the operators. So it can get alerts from other vessels who are sailing on the similar routes just ahead of them, get visual information on stormy weather, and if something happens, it can detect high-risk events in the middle of the ocean, and if you have low visibility, in order to do the automated collision avoidance. And by that, actually reducing a lot of the workload that is being done by the crew. It sends the data back to shore if there is a high-severity event, so the operator can actually look at that and take action if needed, and eventually creates a seamless type of operation between the ship, the shore, in real time, automating a lot of the tasks that are happening. And once the vessel is getting back to coastal water, it's starting to degrade the level of autonomy until it goes back to decision support, and the crew is there to supervise the operation and take action if needed. But for them, it's relieving them a lot from the tedious tasks and optimizing their voyage. So again, it's a tool to empower them, not to replace, but to empower and make them better and do their job better. Now, it's starting now in small steps, 2 ships next year, but as you look towards 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, we'll start seeing more movement towards this type of systems and smart systems. And of course, the regulation needs to be involved in a lot of other stakeholders. It's not just 2 companies. Exciting stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. We've heard these excellent presentations, which have variously covered regulation, real-world implementation, and technological capability. It's time to broaden our discussion with additional perspectives from across the Greek and international maritime community. Let me introduce our additional panelists joining us. I think we're going to have an array of seats shortly here so that our original 3 speakers can be joined by our 2 additional speakers. So, alongside the 3 we've heard from, we're going to have Panos Drossos as Managing Director of Capital Ship Management. He brings the perspective of a leading ship management company overseeing diverse fleets and facing the daily challenge of balancing innovation with operational reliability, crew welfare, and change management across global operations. And additionally, we have the good fortune to be joined by another Panos, Panos Kokountis, as Technical Director at Sea Traders. He will be complementing this outlook with operational insights which deal with the technical implementation perspective and what it goes to make decisions which systems can deploy. So this is our panel. Join me in giving all 5 the very warmest of welcomes. Welcome, gentlemen. Please make your way up. So we've had 3 excellent presentations. We have 4 excellent panelists in place. Let's talk about scaling technology and measuring sustainable return on investment, because we cannot deny the money side in amongst the mix. So I'll ask our panelists, when evaluating new AI or automation tools for your fleets, how do you decide which innovations get tested on a live bridge first? And what operational proof do you require before committing to fleet-wide deployment? And if I can offer a third element, what's your decision framework for moving beyond successful pilots? And I would suggest that perhaps Panos, you might like to get the ball rolling. Panos, yeah.
Good evening to all. There are different types of technologies that are promoted actually as based on AI, and those that we have to try while we are in a company. There are technologies that will be very easy actually to define what is the profit, what is the benefit, and what you do. If, for instance, you have a kind of technology that you can measure the fuel and you have the reduction of the fuel, then it's something very clear that you can convince everybody and the owners that the benefit is here. With technologies that you are reducing the risk, there is always different opinions whether it is worthy actually, first of all, to convince them that you are reducing the risk, and then whether the price is the correct price to reduce the risk. However, so you have to be convinced first by the people that are on board. You have to convince the people in the office with the trial that you do, and then you have to convince the management that finally it is worth it to spend this money, because the alternative and the examples of risky business is something that we cannot afford, something that we will be disaster. This is what we have done actually with Orca AI. This is what we have done with the test. And this is what we do also with other technologies. We do not adopt any technology we have, but at least for technology that we have a proper monitoring in the office, we are now convinced that it is worth the money and every single dollar that you spend on that.
Thank you. Panagiotis, does this resonate with you?
In many areas, we wear the same shoes. The innovation starts from the principle, to be honest with you. Orca came from the principle to the management. So there we differ as a approach and how we introduce new technologies. So the cycle is the same. So the Orca initiative came to our attention, and a significant number of individuals, we sat down, including IT, crew, safety, and marine and vetting, and we saw the benefits deriving from this initiative, but at the same time, by introducing such a system in navigators where the ego, as we said, all of us on sea, we have a significant ego level. So there we initiated the journey by bringing captains and navigators in the office, collectively bringing on the table the reason of such movement and slowly stepping in such an approach. At the beginning, we had totally negative feedback from the first pilot vessel, from the end users. We sat down again together to see the reason. We haven't introduced it to the population of our navigation correctly. They thought it was a policing system and they will be exposed. But when they understood that the policing is outside of our, and the blame culture of our intention, they absorb it as they should. They hugged it. However, as we will discuss further, near misses in navigation, where at the moment before Orca, we had a supreme level of near miss, near to 2-3 per fleet, it raised up to 15. And once more, we brought it in the management review. We didn't blame anyone. So it's a cultural thing for management companies as well. Navigators have quite a lot of things to be blamed. Let's see the data before we reach conclusion, and let's improve. This is what we believe.
Thank you. A moment or two ago, we heard about the implementation of AI across Sea Traders' fleet. Could you tell us perhaps the top 2 or 3 metrics you've been using that guide you when you decide whether you want to keep a digital tool or whether you want to kill a digital tool?
In the office, you mean, for AI specifically?
Yeah.
What's going to kill a tool is if it is, for instance, if you have a group of people that they do not agree on the real benefits. When there are disagreements of what we consider in the office, very often the experience of the more than people. This probably is just rejection of something new. This is the perception that we're going to have more job than when we have done before. Doesn't make my life easier because I have to work more. I have to evaluate more data. Who will pass all these hours to check all this data? And what exactly will give you the green light is when the people start thinking, oh, that's amazing, that make my life easier. I had a warning on my phone, and I don't have to check all these numbers, for instance, for the performance of the ship. I have it within few words, and then they point out with different color at the moment. So it is not just one or two, but it is actually where you have a positive or a negative feeling about from the end user. This is very important. And then what it is considered as reasonable cost. This is also a very big discussion of what it is considered a reasonable cost, especially if you take the volume of, if you're thinking about one ship, think that, okay, that's fine. If you make the mathematics for a volume of ships, then we come back to the discussion we had before about the risk and whether it is worth it. If you find out that, for instance, without the system, the last 10 years, our accidents cost to the company 10 million, and if with this system, I'm going to have to spend 2 or 3 millions a year, then you start thinking twice. You're going to say, okay, as we're doing today, I'm going to lose 10 millions per year, per 10 years, while if I move with the system, I'm going to move 40. So I think that it is not worthy to go on with that.
Thank you. It would be interesting to bring your perspective on what's been said. And Yarden, if I can overlay that, success is quite a nebulous thing. What does success look like when you're deploying AI across multiple fleets with different vessel types?
It starts and ends with adoption. So if the users are getting value out of it, they use it, understand how to use it, they're getting the benefit, this is where it starts, this is where it ends. Eventually, if this happens, it also drives business results and better KPIs. Some KPIs that we showed here in the presentation that drives, better safety behavior, better safety culture, reduction of incidents in our specific use case. But before that can happen, and again, it's a process, and it takes time, usually it needs to start with adoption and to end with that.
Thank you. Momentarily, Vasilis, I will come to you, but I did want to ask Captain Panos, from a ship management perspective, where have you seen the clearest return on investment?
The clearest investment for the time being is awareness, increase of awareness. From our side, we believe that systems that improve judgment are to stay, and the ones that creating distractions are to go. So the return of investment for the time being, in the future, we will see huge in return. Now, to have returns, without a doubt, you need to invest. For the time being, it is something that in the operation expenses, it has a significant cost, but a reduction of near misses, increase of awareness, and properly introduction to the crew members will definitely bring significant returns to the end user.
Quick follow-up to your comments, and then I'll come to Vasilis. Have there been occasions where something that's looked promising on paper in this area for you has actually failed to deliver measurable value in practice, Captain?
So in paper, I'm a paper navigator. I have never, I remember my days on board while neither ECDIS, neither only a radar and bearings existed at that time, and it worked. I have to admit that, but the technology needs to be absorbed such a way and I will set an issue here about generations. We need to invest in the younger generation. The experience is here. So if you mix the bridge team management, because we are discussing about AI, and we are discussing about not one guy, individual on board the vessel. It's a bridge resource management and bridge team management. So it works since all of us, I see here guys that we have worked in several forums together. We are proud of what we have succeeded, but it's an issue for the future that needs to be addressed. And from my perspective, I believe that innovation, new technologies, blended with experience, will bring the utmost result.
Thank you. Vasilis, I've been keeping my powder dry for you. In your, in your presentation, you outlined the journey from computer-based systems through decision support towards automation. What's the biggest regulatory challenge in moving from decision support to automated decision-making, and how does BV help shipping companies demonstrate equivalent safety when AI systems assume functions traditionally performed by human watchkeepers?
Right, it's quite big, but
I told you, powder dry.
It's fine. I will start mentioning the mass code that you may be familiar, that is under development by the IMO, the Merchant Autonomous Surface Ship Code. We have been actively been involved in the development of this code, and it's one of the developments that we are eagerly waiting for to drive things forward. So during this proliferation, let's say, in discussions and development of this code, we have been challenged by accurately defining the roles and the responsibilities between humans and machines. So where does one stop and the other, where does end and the other begin? I believe this is one of the biggest challenges. Then the other one is the quality of the data that is used to train the AI. So we have found that one of the thresholds, let's say, to stop and automatic decision making and switch to human decision making is when the checking of the training of the data trained for the system is not good enough and not reliable one. So coming back, I think, yes, the most challenging part is to try, and we see it during the development of this code, to try to define accurately the roles and the definition of the roles and the responsibilities between man and machine.
This seemed to resonate with yourself, Yarden.
I resonate also about the comment about the data. Without data, not just that you'll get low performance type of AI, but it can do completely other things, right? So it's very similar to a human. If you train him to do something in a bad way, he's going to do something bad. So AI is very special, very the same in this respect. So the data quality needs to be very clear. What we are doing actually is we're using AI to clean the data. So you can use AI also to do that. But then once the data is clean, and once you can train it in a better, like in a very effective way, then it can drive very good results. And then it comes to actually identifying where are the rules between human and machine are actually happening. This is a part of that is the mass code, what the regulations are working on now, and what the project I showed in the presentation. It's also a part of that. So NYK are working very closely with IMO. So when the mass code framework is going to start being delivered, which is supposed to be 2028, but
starting 2026. It's close. So,
yeah, I think it's going to take longer, but
we have recent examples of delay.
Yes, so. Of course, exactly. 2 weeks ago. But that's the work that multiple stakeholders need to do together to define all those roles and responsibilities.
So, listening to that, are international regulatory frameworks keeping pace, to your mind, with the rate of AI development and deployment in maritime?
Talking now about regulation after what happened like in the last 2 weeks with IMO, so I don't know. It looked promising and non-promising. I can tell you that technology is always moving faster than regulation, and it's always how to keep pace in that. I think in the IMO, the advantage is that it's controlling all shipping, right, compared to the car industry. So there is an advantage there, but I think how they're moving sometimes are lacking. I'll give you an example. Small stuff. In the US, every truck in the US, they need to have some kind of a monitoring tool, a dash cam, a simple dash cam with AI that will measure driving behavior. A ship costs 100x more than a truck, and still you don't have any way to actually measure effectively how a ship is being operated. Of course, you have the MSA audits and everything, but it's not effective, and how to use technology to make it much more streamlined.
Please.
It is a fact, not only in AI, that regulations come after technology development. We've seen it with technologies for alternative fuels and other things. This is why, as I showed you, we try to take the initiative to develop our own standards so that the industry can have something to work with. For example, the guidelines for machine learning, we think it's a good move. And we are considering international standards like ISO or what is included in the EU AI Act. It's not necessarily applied to shipping, but it can be a good guidance to start with. And of course, we are ready to harmonize our efforts when regulations actually develop further.
Well, having said that, you've got your own standards. How do you help operators, such as like the gentleman on the panel, obviously those in the audience? How do you help such entities navigate the reality that different flag states, port states, and class societies may have varying standards for AI and automation? And you mentioned harmonization. What's needed for greater global harmonization?
Start with flag administrations don't really have anything. So I don't think there's a question of harmonizing different requirements for flag states. You have to go to them and prove to them that what you're offering or what you are, what the operator actually is asking for, and we are there to support them, has an equivalent level of safety as what is actually in the regulation right now. And it is a paradigm that is used many times in trying to prove alternative solutions to SOLAS, for example. And the way that we handle it is that we do, together with our clients, a very detailed risk assessment and a study of what is the alternative exactly, and prove to the regulator that the system that is going to be installed on board indeed has an equivalent level of safety. Now, in terms of standardization, this will need to come as the rules evolve. As I said, we are ready to adapt and have a harmonized standard for AI together with what the rest are doing.
So, Captain, you're tasked with implementing and trying to comply, both the gentlemen in the middle there, hearing those responses. What's your take?
With the national regulation, there are very little things you can do. Actually, you should follow what every state decide, and we have seen that changing the government, they're going to change also positions. They will have new rules. They will disappear. They're going to have. So for this one, I don't think that shipping should be bothered, because shipping is an international business. As we travel around the world, we will see different countries with different standards and with different perspective on various things. But what we should expect to have actually is IMO as a global regulator of the industry to have some different approach on many problems that we have today in the shipping. And I think that the last year, the focus was on the environment, and many other things remain behind. And unfortunately, now it is more clear that the environment was more a geopolitical issue than a real issue. Actually, the different solutions and the different proposals they had from different country states support completely irrelevant with the environment. So what we have behind, we have unfortunately automation, AI, and these kind of things. They are still much behind in shipping. Can you imagine that today, in the modern day, you are building a ship where the mooring winch are completely manual everything? How many people do you need to drop anchor? You need one to watch out, another one to communicate with the bridge, someone to stay down in the engine to control the engine, one people to be in the control of the windlass, and another to be in the control of the brake with a huge wheel, like being centuries behind. And accidents happen, and we have the whole system completely isolated. The pump and the valve in front of the pump, they have no connection at all. So the crew has the responsibility to operate the pump, listen at the noise of the piping, and control also the valve. These are things that had to be resolved some decades ago, and still now they are not in the agenda. So we have a lot of work to do in shipping with automation to make it safer, to avoid these silly mistakes from people that they are tired or they're not properly trained or things like that. Nobody was trained to operate mobile phones, but I think that everybody is expert. And I think that this is the way forward for the ship. And this is how we have to push things to go on the ship. It is not easy. I must say that we are not fully confident still for the automations. Just a year ago, I bought a new car and had this control for auto parking. So when I tried to test and the car alone started moving and turning, I said, no. Leave it. I will do it myself. So you need some time to get confidence of these simple things.
Thank you. Just ahead of coming to the floor for any questions they may have, I'd like to give you the opportunity to reflect.
We endeavor alignment with regulation. However, as Mr. Pano said, it's our day-to-day job to work on environment with different regulation or different approaches. Yes, an alignment is needed, and we will cheer when the time will come. IMO, without a doubt, the classification society needs to give the proper attention and take the decision on the right moment. I will never forget from my side in my career the ballast water treatment regulation, where we as operators, as owners, complied while the technology wasn't there. So the cost, the retrofit and all this. So yes, we vote for alignment, and whatever support may be needed, we're here to provide.
Thank you. Let us come to the floor. We've covered a lot of ground and a myriad of topics. Any questions for any one or more of our panel, please?
Hello, my name is Kyriakos Piliopoulos. I'm from Seagull Maritime. So it's a general question to the entire panel. And it might be a bit, let's say, I maybe seem outdated compared to you guys. So definitely AI is here, technology is running faster than us. But shouldn't the shipping companies, at least for the entry and junior levels, both for the bridge and the engine, keep the AI a bit away from those young officers? Give them your experience of the more physical apprehension of the things, like using the sextant, using the maps, having manual labor. Because no matter how, at least in my views, no matter how useful an AI tool is, it is a tool. It will break down. Unfortunately, we are at an age where we cannot go anywhere without using Google Maps. Where 15 years ago, you just had this paper map in your car and you knew the streets. Now the phone breaks down and I'm blind. So shouldn't, let's say, we combine the knowledge that you have before technology and AI became such a big part of us, away from the junior officers until they are ready to be introduced at a later stage?
I will take the lead as the navigator of the team. Who said that we have taken out of the concept sextant and traditional navigation? Going forward doesn't mean that we forget the past. So in our system, and I'm 100% sure, at least the communities, the operators, that have not left the old traditions behind. However, we need to look ahead. It's the same thing. Why to take out cadets not using a sextant? What about the older generation using AIs? So it's I totally agree with you, but all of us, we keep in our manuals, in our safety manual system, the appropriate knowledge for the navigators to be able to go from A to B even without AIs. I don't know each company what procedures they follow, but at least once per month, I'm 100%, all the management companies, they use celestial observations, and they use what we used to use in the past.
Thank you. Further questions? Well, I have some. This gentleman there? Yes? Wonderful. If you state your name and affiliation and where you'd like the question directed. Thank you.
Hi, Konstantinos Vlachos from Castro Ships. I have a question to the Orca. You have approached, yes. You have approached owners, and you have seen that the system has been accepted by quite a few owners as an equipment that contributes to the safety. Have you approached the other stakeholders, like insurance, and not the only one that you mentioned before, but all of them, including the charters and the big boys of the wet, trading, all the oil majors? And if yes, what is the reaction about the Orca system as a system that contributes to the safety and minimizes the accidents? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very good question. We believe from the beginning that we need to start with the owners. They own the ship, then especially here in Greece, they're operating the ship as well. So we wanted to make sure that they're getting the value and they're improving their safety. It's their asset. When we started to feel more mature, then we started to go to other stakeholders. North Standard is one of them. We are now in the process with other P&I clubs to do similar things. We started now to work also with fleet management companies. So we signed a strategic partnership with Anglo-Eastern, for example, that eventually it will become a standard across the fleet they are managing. And also the oil majors. So we're working very closely with Shell on multiple things. Shell has it on their managed vessels, the LNG vessels, and some other oil majors that we're working very closely with them as well. We're also starting to work towards the TMSA audits and to see how we can make the TMSA or parts of the TMSA audits more efficient by introducing more data and make this process more streamlined, because this is, we know it's a headache for every ship owner. So we're trying to help also in this respect. So the Orca is today expanding in terms of the technology capabilities that we have, and the product that we're delivering, and then also the stakeholders that we can touch.
Jose Menezes from Gaslog. The question is connected with the NIK. So in 2026, they will go this navigation crewless, as you spoke and you showed the case.
No, it's not crewless. It's
Navigation.
Yes,
Automated.
yes.
Can you disclose some of the returns that you expect on that project and going in that direction?
Yeah, and they're starting step by step. eventually it's they understand it's also a long process, and they're starting with 2 ships. Next year, it's probably going to go to 10 in terms of the ordering that they're going to do. And they're starting from specific routes, and they're flipping the switch to autonomous mode in specific areas where they can do, because they're working also with IMO on mass code, and until the mass code is not fully delivered, they can't actually go from point A to point B completely autonomous. So it's going to be steps. And from their perspective, eventually they see gains in safety, they see gains in some crew reduction maybe, but mainly on safety, and also they see gains in fuel efficiency mode. What we saw, for example, and I'll share with you some data, the crew behavior has some big impact on fuel consumption as well. It's very similar to how we drive, right? If I'm driving and I'm speeding a lot and I'm braking a lot, I'm going to burn more fuel. We see that this data coming also from ships. So if you automate the open ocean navigation and you're connecting the ship to the cloud and you're collecting the data in real time, and based on that you're optimizing, and you don't have the human in the loop in this specific area, you can also save on fuel. So those are the drivers from their perspective. But again, they're taking it step by step from next year.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody. So it's Dagaris from NSB Group. I have 2 questions. First, the experience, because the primary aim of navigation still is EGDIS, radars. Do you see a tendency that the crew start to look more on ORCA than the primary aid of navigation? Secondly, in an alike phenomenon or eventuality that the crew will trust ORCA instead of EGDIS and have an accident, what insurers will say?
I think that there is a misunderstanding here because the 2 systems are completely different. So one system is electronic charts. You're going to use them anyway because you want to go from point A to point B. The other system is a visual aid. So what you see in front of you, and when you use, for instance, some other aids, your binocular to see around, doesn't mean that you don't use your EGDIS. So I think that every different piece of equipment on bridge is doing a different job, and this system is doing a completely different job of what the other systems are doing. So you're going to have what is the standard bridge equipment. By the way, I must say that at a certain point, this may become also the standard piece of equipment because it doesn't have any other system to do similar job with this one. It will be a mistake, actually, if someone, instead of looking around, is just watching only EGDIS, or is just working only radar, or is just working only... Someone has to be in the bridge and be aware of all instruments he has around. So this could be a clear mistake, a distraction, but I don't think at the moment that it is a distraction. The results, at least of our company, the results doesn't show that.
So the question is well addressed, and I believe this is the reason that ORCA has to approach the insurance and, of course, to have a dialogue with all of them, that the system contributing to the safety, and therefore, in a case of an accident like that before that the previous mention, the coverage will be there because the insurance have approached the system and have seen the benefits, and therefore they cover the owners in case that the crew is based at the end of the day and more on this system rather than the other systems. This is the big issue here.
Yeah, of course. I agree with you. And the insurance, they are driving actually the owners to use ORCA because they see the gain. They're actually providing even some subsidy for the owners to try it. You know, we have some of the customer success team in ORCA that are doing the training to the crew, and it's super strict from their perspective. And when they're providing the training and they're repeating that, and it's on all the training materials that the crew is getting, ORCA is not a collision avoidance system. It's not coming to replace anything. You need to look in the radar, you need to look at the ACDIS. But in certain cases, where you don't see anything, where you have a smaller fishing vessel, a wooden fishing vessel in the middle of the night in China, in front of your bow, it's not being picked up, and all of a sudden you get an alert from Orca, and because of that you avoided an incident. This is exactly what we're trying to achieve. So not coming to replace anything, but to assist the crew when they're needed. And also we build the user interface in a way that it's not going to absorb your attention to the screen. You don't have a lot of buttons. It's basically showing you the information that you need.
First of all, we don't have to afraid AI, and we don't have to afraid the revolution that AI brings. We have to embrace the change, not afraid the change. So in the first question with my friend Spiliopoulos did, I don't think that the cadets we should avoid train the cadets in AI. On the opposite, I believe that we have to enhance training on how to use it correctly. The traditional navigation is there and will remain there. AI is not there to replace the experience and the professionalism of a master mariner. It's there to augment and his decision, the decision making of the bridge officer. And in terms of the familiarization and all the trainings we're doing, we have policies in place, we have placards, and we have also the training, and we have made clear to everyone that for the time being, Orca AI and the CPOD is not for collision avoidance. And this is clear, it is in our policies, is everywhere written, and we train them and we explain them almost every week. And when we derogate close quarter situations, that this system is used only as a silent assistant, a silent ally.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ypsilantis Pavlos. I am from Stamco Ship Management, one of the first shipping companies where use Orca AI. My question has two sectors. First of all, what about IMO on AI rules and regulations? Is there any in the near future, any idea to make a guideline or a resolution or what? Because without this, the two gentlemen who speak before regarding the insurance, we have an issue. Insurance, if something happens, will read regulations, full stop. But regarding the AI, the flat bottom problem nowadays, and all of us who are from shipping companies, we know that, has 4 letters, crew. I'm an electronic engineer. This is my profession, and this is my job. Believe me, gentlemen, on the vessels, the deck officers rarely look outside. The officers of watch, I mean. They are based on the ECDIS, which correctly you state is a chart, and on the radar. You have to, force them, try to remind them that they have to look outside. So for me, AI is an instrument to assist these operators, these human beings that, let's say, 2 months ago when they are back home, they with a mobile in the hand, moving around, everything was through their screen to be the decision for collision avoidance. But yet, without regulations, without accepting of the insurance companies, it will be very difficult to change something.
We mentioned briefly before the IMO mass code. It's as I said, the maritime autonomous surface ship code, which is under development at IMO. I mentioned the date of 2026. I have to correct myself. It's actually planned, an MSC session is planned in 2026. I think that will discuss the code, and we may see some progress in the text there. But you're right that it's expected to be adopted by 2028. So this is the timeline as far as IMO is concerned. So to have an IMO code that regulates autonomous shipping, we will have to wait until 2028. Now, until then, the effort goes down to us as classification societies and the flag administrations to work together and maybe define, in the meantime, some frameworks that can be used for early adopters. And we are there to do this. We have issued guidelines. Other class societies have also issued guidelines. They can form a way to regulate an application, an actual application, with the agreement of the flag administration and the subsequent agreement, maybe of course, of the insurer, if an agreement from the flag exists, that will show an equivalent level of safety. We are ready to do this now, but the universal, let's say, code that will cover autonomous shipping is scheduled to be in 2028, the mass code.
Thank you. Time and tide wait for no one, and I do need to draw the session to a close. We do have the opportunity of networking, of course, to pursue these and other themes in a moment or two, but I want to abuse my position as the moderator to ask in rapid succession. It's something I'm trying to embed as a custom in our roadshow, an unscripted question for each of our panelists. I'm going to start with you, interestingly enough. If you could eliminate one barrier holding this field back, what would it be?
It will be the regulation, actually. We are building ships at the minimum standards of the regulation, and actually, if we would like to improve them, the first thing to do is actually to increase the standards.
Okay. Captain, if you had unlimited resources in this area, what project would you pursue to make the most impact?
I don't have unlimited resources.
If.
I don't have the crystal ball, to be honest with you. So it's a variety. It's a huge range what you are asking me to answer you. So technology, I would tell you.
Okay. And for our friend at the end, what partnership or alliance do you think is most critical to move things forward in this area?
Tough question.
Regulators and end users. Regulators have to be realistic in what they are regulating for. We have recent examples in different areas, but here I think they have to cooperate, and regulators have to listen to the industry and see how technology is evolving, and create codes that will actually work in practical terms.
Thank you. I try and reserve my toughest one for you, but we'll see. Yarden, how do you balance optimism and realism when addressing the challenges in this field?
What? The optimism is that AI can improve many things in our life, but also I can do a lot of interesting and romantic things. For example, to make food. So we all love Greek food. AI is not going to replace that for sure.
Thank you.
Realistically,
that's worth a round of applause. So, all I would like to say, in order to try and bring the strands together, is that as we look forward, the organisations represented tonight, I think what we've seen, they're not waiting for perfect solutions or complete regulatory certainty. I think what we've seen is they're building operational resilience through measured AI adoption. They're gathering the data, they're developing the expertise, and creating the organisational capability that will shape those future industry standards while maintaining competitive advantage in what is undoubtedly an increasingly digitalised world. What's also not in doubt, and I think it's a comment that was made at the outset, is the digital voyage has begun. And what's clearly been on display today is the fact that the Eastern Mediterranean maritime community is charting its own very powerful course with characteristic competence, cultural wisdom, and cautious determination.